Page 126.
Ma yafe hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafe hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Yedit nefesh afarachaman. Yedit nefesh afarachaman. V'shochavtecha el ratzonecha. V'shochavtecha yalai lai 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 el ratzonecha. Yarutz avtecha kamo hayal yishtachavi lai 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 yalai lai 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 el mul hadarecha. Yedit nefesh afarachaman. Yedit nefesh afarachaman. Meshochavtecha el ratzonecha. Meshochavtecha yalai lai 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 el ratzonecha.
Page 131. Shiru Ladonai.
Shiru l'Adonai, shiru shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, shiru shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai baruch shemo, basru miyom liyom yeshuato. Shiru l'Adonai baruch shemo, basru miyom liyom yeshuato. Shiru l'Adonai, shiru shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, shiru shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai baruch shemo, basru miyom liyom yeshuato. Shiru l'Adonai baruch shemo, basru miyom liyom yeshuato.
And as we turn forward to page 134, we join with Gina with Zamru Ladonai.
Zamru l'Adonai bechino, bechino v'kol zemra, b'chatzatrot v'kol shofar, hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai, yeram hayam umlo'o, tevel v'yoshvei ba, neharot ימחאו חוף יחד הרים ירננו לפני אדוני קיווה לשפוט הארץ ישפוט תבל בצדק ועניים במישרים ירם הים ומלואו תבל ויושבי בה נהרות ימחאו חוף יחד הרים ירננו.
And we welcome Shabbat formally with Lecha Dodi on page 138.
La 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 Lecha Dodi, la 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 likrat kala, la 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 Penei Shabbat בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי בעורר קומי אורי, 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 שידברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי הלאה, בואי הלאה. יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה.
As we welcome Shabbat with the Chadodi, Margaret, I invite you to light our candle of hope for our hostages and the Shabbat candles as well in memory of your grandson, Alexander.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik mishal Shabbat.
Amen. Just before we turn to wish one another Shabbat Shalom, a few welcomes that I'd like to share this evening. I'd like to welcome Joe and Barbara Sklar from Rockaway, Long Island, New York. So welcome to services. Thank you for visiting us this evening. Jackie, I'd like to welcome you. So hi to Jackie. Anybody who's here for the first time who I might have missed besides Gina? Jenny, you guys are not here for the first time. Lovely to see you. This is what, a second time visit for you both? Second for you? Not for you, Jenny. You've been a few times before. It's not your first time, not your first time. We could keep doing this, but I won't. Let's wish each other a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Margaret, we'll get you finished. Just before we head to Shalom Aleichem on page 142, I'd like to acknowledge the Wajak people of the Noongar Nation as the traditional custodians of the country and its waters, and that Temple David stands on Noongar country. We pay our respects to Noongar elders past and present and acknowledge their wisdom and advice, just as we respect and acknowledge the wisdom and advice of our elders past and present. Shalom Aleichem, page 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem LaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachuni LeShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Tzeitam l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. And please rise for the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. Yitkaral v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlech malchutei v'chayel chon uvyom erchon uvrei l'chol beit Yisrael v'agala u'bizman harif v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam ולעלמי עולמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומן ויתנשא ויתפרע ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה ברכו לעילה מכל בחטא ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירם בעלמה ואמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. המבורך לעולם ועד. Please join me in the prayer on the next page, page 148. Blessed are you, eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, whose wisdom opens heaven's gates, whose understanding changes times and season, and who arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign over us into eternity. Blessed are you, eternal one, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'arif aravim. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadata, Al kain Adonai, Eloheinu b'shachbeinu, ufkomeinu na'asiyah b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei toratecha, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה, נגי יומם ולילה, ואהבת רע אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל Adonai echad, Baruch Shem kavod malchuto, L'olam va'ed.
We may be seated.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Our song of freedom, Mi Chamocha.
Mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha, ba'ilim Adonai. Mi kamocha, mi kamocha, mi kamocha, nida b'kodesh, malchutecha, ra'u banecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'eli anu v'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו,
ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
A prayer of shelter and protection, Hashkivenu, page 160.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו
the facing page. Give us a place to rest, eternal our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace over all we love, over our Yerushalayim and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. And so we turn forward to Vishamru on page 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We rise for the Amidah on page 164, and our custom is to share the first three tefillot, brachot out loud together, and then we continue silently the prayers of our hearts or the words on the page, coming together on page 180 with Oseh Shalom. And of course, if standing becomes a little onerous, please feel free to be seated, and at the end of your prayers as well, page 164.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tefillah. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tefillah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim Hakonei Hakol V'zofech Hashem Avot V'imot U'mevii Gula Lifnei B'nei למען שמו באהבה, מלוך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אדמה בסוד צרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחכה
מושיע, משיך הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הצל, מחלקל חיים וחסד, וחיי הכל ורחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא גאולים, ומתי הסונים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מחמו חבל ורועות, ומינו מלך, מלך תמיד, ומחיה, ומצליח ישועה, ונאמנתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, בחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Continue with the prayers of our hearts or the words of the page. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, O God, my rock and my redeemer.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמו אמן. יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
ועל כל Kol Yoshvei Tevel, may God bring peace to the world, entire world, and let us say,
Amen.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'm not surprised to see for Temple David so many people here tonight. And I think that we wanted to be together. We wanted to come together and to be with one another. It feels more like a Shabbat morning crowd, a small Shabbat morning crowd, let me put it that way. And I was trying to think about how to put into words over the last, I guess it's been more than 24 hours, about how to put into words my emotions, my thoughts, my feelings, as I'm sure almost everybody, if not everybody here, has been trying to do since we got the news of who was to return home yesterday, sadly not alive, and who's to return home tomorrow and next week for the ending of phase 1 in Gaza and Israel. And it's been difficult. I think harder than any high holiday sermon I've had to write. And so I was scouring the internet. As many of you know, I can't plagiarize a sermon for that. I can't say that I've ever tried. And it's been, I think Noah has picked up. Noah, for those of you who don't know me, Noah is my 5-year-old daughter, has picked up on my emotions, and she was asking me on the way to school today is, Ima, if I eat my vegetables, I won't die, will I? That was our morning's conversation. It's kind of like, I said, no, sweetheart, why would you ask that? She says, well, a boy at school said that people die, because she hasn't experienced that. I said, well, eventually, sweetie, when you get very, very, very old, life takes its course, and that's what happens. She says, yes, but if I eat all my vegetables, I've never said that. If you eat your vegetables and your fruit, you won't. I've never said that to her. And, but sometimes, she will hear me on the phone with a bereavement, or even though I try to shield her from all of that, and I think she can't help but to hear conversations, even with me and my parents. And I found this article that was probably written in the last few hours. It's from a woman who calls herself an advocate. And she wrote, this is the title of it. This is the title of her article. I printed it out that size, and then I printed it out that size. Shows you my age. And her name is Carly Fildis, who's an organizing and advocacy professional living in Washington, D.C. And when I read it, I was in tears, because she said everything that I had been feeling that I was not able to put into words. And it says, Jewish moms now look at our children and think of Anne. Jewish moms look at our children and think of Anne Frank. Now we'll think of Kafir and Ariel Bibas too. And I invite you to just take the journey of her article, not my article. Listen to this. Listen to it. I found it in the forward. Originally the Yiddish newspaper in America. It's also written in English. You may cry, but it'll take you on the emotional roller coaster that I've been on, and I think many of you have been on too. And the byline is, I'm so furious that the world is still not a safe place for Jewish babies. Telling my 8-year-old daughter that the Bibas children are dead was one of the most devastating moments for me since October 7 attack. Now, I haven't told Noah anything about what's been going on. She's only 5. So Noah has no idea, technically. For more than 500 days, we have been living in the first stage of grief, denial. I never gave up hope. I prayed every day. When Hamas announced that Shiri Bibas and her 2 young children, Kafir and Ariel, had died in November of 2023, I believed it was a lie, part of the terrorist group's campaign of psychological torture. When the recent ceasefire was announced, and Yarden Bibas, Shiri's husband and the children's father, came home shortly after, I envisioned the family together again in Israel, perhaps gathered around a Pesach table to celebrate our upcoming holiday of liberation. Now that the final glimmer of hope has been crushed, denial can no longer keep us safe. And so we are collectively entering the second stage of grief, anger. As a mother of 2 young Jewish children, I am enraged that 80 years after the Holocaust, the world is still not a safe place for Jewish babies. I feel hatred like I've never have before for the people who tore down hostage posters featuring Kafir and Ariel and call them propaganda. I despise my neighbors who hung ceasefire now signs when it was trendy, only to replace them when a new cause of the day arose, never acknowledging all those still suffering the consequences of the misery that Hamas's 2023 attack unleashed. I am irate when I walk past a sticker glued to a lamppost by my house that celebrates Hamas's revolution and the liberation of that massacre. I stuck pictures of Ariel and Kafir next to that sticker to shame whoever left it there, but they came off in the rain. I am mad at whoever hung the sticker for having better glue. But really, I can no longer make dark jokes about people who hate us. For today, at least, I hate them back. The list of those for whom I feel hatred in the second stage of grief feels almost like the Yom Kippur Vidui. But instead of a list of my own sins, it is a list of all those who sinned against our hostages. I'm angry at the United Nations for their gutless moral failings and systematic targeting of Israel. I'm angry at the Red Cross over their failings to serve the hostages in any way, to provide medicine, food, or proof of life. They've been, at best, useless. I'm angry at those protesters against the war who denied Jewish humanity. I'm angry at every college professor and student who tried to justify the violence that claimed the Bibas' children's life alongside so many others. I'm angry at friends who argued that Israel's walls, checkpoints, and border patrols were signs of racist apartheid, never mind the function they served in trying to keep Israeli kids safe and alive. And my own caveat, what about the attempted bus bombing suicides today? I'm angry at those who marched for a ceasefire, but never said a word about the babies Hamas had brutalized and ripped from their homes. I'm angry at too many friends or former friends that I can count for their silence and equivocation. I'm angry at Hamas for all their evil. The rapes, tortures, burnings, beheadings, and murders. Most of all, I hate them for sowing in me deep doubt for the first time that peace could one day happen. I hate that my doubt marks a victory for their evil. Worst of all, I am mad at God. I am mad at God because with yesterday's confirmation of the Bibas children's deaths, I had to tell my 8-year-old for the first time in her young life that God did not answer our prayers. She cried, I held her close. I told her she was safe and that Mommy would always keep her safe. I looked at her curly hair and wide eyes full of sadness and wondered why God lets our kids die. But I didn't tell my 8-year-old that I am furious with God. Instead, I leaned into our rituals and history. I told her that the most important way to honor the Bieber's children is to devote ourselves to the values of our people. I sang her songs, telling her that every Jewish baby is a miracle. I told her what I have always told her, what I have always known, that in difficult times we need to lean into our Jewishness and focus on tefillah, tzedakah, and mitzvot, that if we do what our grandmothers and great-grandmothers and their grandmothers did, it will somehow preserve and keep us. Light candles on Shabbat, bake a challah and brisket, sing a song of yearning and love, study, pray. But I felt like a liar. I'm miserable and heartbroken. I want the comfort of my Judaism. I want to feel the warmth of tradition and prayer wrapped in a tallis. But how can those traditions bring me comfort when I'm so angry at God? How do we comfort our children when we want to scream at God? You have let our children die too many times. Every Jewish mom has cradled their babies and thought about Anne Frank. Now forever we will always think of Ariel and Kfir Bibas. But I know my fury at God is itself a way of celebrating my Jewishness. Our people were made to struggle with the divine. Our whole identity is built, for better or worse, on Jacob wrestling with the angel. I know in my soul that in a low moment I can scream at God and God will still love me. I know when my rage passes and sadness consumes me, our ancient prayers will lift our spirits. I will say those prayers at shul this Shabbat. My little girl wants to go to honor Kfir, Ariel, and all the hostages. It is my job to give her what she needs to feel solace in our tradition. So like millions of Jewish moms before me, I'll prepare for this Shabbat. Shopping, cooking, washing clothes. I don't do any of that. For sure, hoping and praying that the world and the God I am so angry at will somehow, against all evidence to the contrary, change. Shabbat Shalom. I felt everything that this woman wrote about. And I feel everything that this woman wrote about, the anger, the comfort. The difference there is that Noah is unaware of the Bibas children. She's too young to know, to understand. But I wonder if she did know and understand how I would react as a mom, as an imma. Because she's starting to grasp life and death through her questions. She's quite happy to kill a mosquito, but the thought of our doggy getting hurt brought her to crocodile tears beyond consolation last weekend. So I think what she feels, what this woman feels and wrote about, so many of us are feeling right now, and it gives voice. But the question now is, where is Shiri? Because the family, the Bibas family, have no consolation. I did hear that Jordan Bibas rushed to where his sons were or are, to bring them, to protect them, to be a shomer. and to assure me as a guardian, a watcher until burial, to be present. So now it's just another waiting game. It doesn't get any easier. But we are a people of hope. And Gina asked you if we could to sing this at the end of the service, but maybe we could sing this now. And this was going to be our final song, but I think it'll be nice to sing it now, and that's Geshet Sama Od.
It's on page 643.
כל העולם כולו כשצר מאוד, כשצר מאוד, כשצר מאוד. כל העולם כולו כשצר מאוד, כשצר מאוד. והעיקר, לא לפחד, לא לפחד כלל. והעיקר, לא לפחד כלל. כל העולם כולו כשצר מאוד, כשצר מאוד, כשצר מאוד. כל העולם כולו כשצר מאוד, כשצר מאוד.
The whole world is a very narrow
Bridge,
a
very narrow bridge, a very narrow bridge.
The
The whole world is a very narrow bridge, a very narrow bridge.
But the main thing to be sure is to have no fear at all. But the main thing to be sure is to have no fear at all. And I think that's it. We should have no fear at all. That goes back to my youth group days. We continue with Aleinu on page 586, and I invite you to please rise. And Robbie, in honor of your birthday, when you turn 21, please open our ark, page 586, open our Aron.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצא את הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושרינת עוזו בכוכבי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצא את הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושרינת עוזו
So as we turn to Kaddish Tom, the mourner's Kaddish. So for the week of Shiva, of course, we announce the passing of, until they are laid to rest, of Ariel and Kafir Bibas and Oded Lifshitz. And then for the Shloshim of Martin Hillel Abrams and Marcel Baer and Marion Rose Wiesel. And for the Yardzites, we remember Helen Trosso, grandmother of Vibke Timmerman, and Heinrich Timmerman, grandfather of Vibke. David Königsberg, father of Patty Königsberg. Pauline Mendelsohn, grandmother of Joel Mendelsohn. Alexander Glenister, grandson of Margaret. Morris Samuels, husband of Joyce. Dora Stern, grandmother of Marilyn Selden. And Raya Horvitz, grandmother of Nadine Herlin. If anyone would like to remember a loved one for Shiva, for Shloshim, or Yartzeit, I invite you to share your loved one's names at this time. And if you'd like to say something about your loved one, you are most welcome. Would you like to say something? Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may the memory of the righteous be for a blessing as we remember our loved ones along with all others. And let's join together in the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yikadash Shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach yiritei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon, v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'merur.
Amen.
Yahei Shemei Rabbah mevarach l'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitada v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei d'Kudashah, le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, damiran v'alma v'merur.
Amen.
Yahei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imrur.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, uyaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imrur.
Amen.
Hamakom yenachem echem b'toch sha'ahav le'tzion v'Yerushalayim. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved in Zion and Jerusalem and around the world. And we say,
Amen.
as we are seated, just a few brief announcements. Tomorrow we have our religion school, TDRS, at 9 o'clock. Our Bar Mitzvah students are also meeting in Gina. We're going to have about 3 or 4 in services,
Lovely.
helping to lead services. And our little ones are, the 5-6-year-olds will also be meeting tomorrow. After services, there's coffee club at Decca, and there will be a Purim Spiel meeting. So anybody who would like to join the Purim Spiel, there's a meeting tomorrow at 12:30 after services. The Never Again Is Now Perth chapter is launching tomorrow. They were going to meet here at Temple David, but they grew so big in terms of numbers, people wanting to attend and join the Never Again Is Now, that the location has moved. We can accommodate up to about 180 people. They now are reaching more than 200 people. And they also need like breakout areas. So they're now meeting, I'll tell you later. Because we're online and I don't want to breach security. So I'll tell you later where they are meeting. So that's tomorrow at 2:30. Mahjong is on Monday. Wednesday, there's Shmooze. Shmooze on Wednesday. I think one of our past presidents, Ari, is going to be in his band, playing in his band. That's always lovely. at 12 o'clock, and then in the evening, beginning at 5:15, Margaret is leading our Israeli dancing, which is always a kick. You like that? No. And then followed by ITJ at 6:30, and Hebrew at 7:40, and Jewish history at 7:40 as well. Save the date, Dove, Dine and Dance, on Friday, March 7th, Monday, March 10th. We have Major General retired Noam Tibon and his wife Gali Tibon to come and share their story. It's really important. The UAA Women's Gala, Nurturing Our Nation. If you want to go to the Women's Gala, that's please sign up as quickly as possible. That's going to be a sellout. I've already signed up. And then, of course, the Magen David Adom event, Saving Lives, Shielding Heroes, with Dr. Cliff Knapp, Hilton Silver, and, of course, with Kevin Bigas. Everybody knows Kevin. He's actually the president of MDA. I would be telling you all about Ambassador Michael Oren to go see that, but they've sold out. And they're only giving people seats now for cancellations to the waiting list. So there's a lot going on in our little Jewish community of Perth. So that's it. Anybody else would like to share announcements? Well, Scars, you're heading down to Margaret River, so it's going to be a hot spot for a while. Mel Brooks has nothing on me. And our final song, Gina, what are we going to do? Shall we?
What was the other one we were doing? We were doing.
Are we going to do Am Yisrael Chai?
Oh,
We
yes.
might as well do Am Yisrael Chai.
Okay,
Yeah.
you know the words. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael 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 Chai.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat
Let's
Shalom.
go out for Kiddush into our lobby.